hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for Puck It with Jo. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Jo here at SportsGrid. It's time for Puck It with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV. Now, we have a loaded slate out there on the ice, so we're going to jump straight into it. But make sure, if you can't stay around for the full show, you come back and do check out the best bets at the end of the show. I will bookmark when those kick off. So let's jump into it, you guys. If you can hit that like button, hit that retweet button, I would greatly appreciate it. We're going to start with the Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, Frederik Andersen did come back from his injury on Monday versus the Chicago Blackhawks, and they were able to record the win with him out there. And I do think Frederik Andersen should come out nice and tall in this matchup versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. But when we look at those lines, let's pull them up right now. We have the Columbus Blue Jackets rolling in at plus 290 underdog, minus a 375 here for the Carolina Hurricanes, and a total of 6.5. Now, the 6.5 juice to that under at minus 140. So we have seen a bit of movement. There were 5.5s out there earlier. I do think Frederik Andersen, while he's so phenomenally strong, don't get me wrong, in that game versus the Chicago Blackhawks, it was the Chicago Blackhawks, and we've seen a Columbus Blue Jackets team that can get those goals. They were able to come out versus the Toronto Maple Leafs and get the win. It was a 5-1 win last night versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. So second night of a back-to-back here for Columbus. I do think they can put 3 goals on Frederik Andersen. So the over 2.5 goals here for the Columbus Blue Jackets rolling in at plus 138. I'm looking for a 4-3 style win here for the Carolina Hurricanes. So then if you want to look at Columbus on that puck line, the puck line plus 1.5 is at plus 112. I would rather come back in on the puck line if we do see Carolina go up first. Now, Carolina here at home should be able to go up first in this matchup, but I'm expecting Columbus to answer back pretty quickly in this one. Like I said, making his start back from injury versus Chicago, yes, able to record the win, but still not believing in it here. So when we look here at what we've seen out of Carolina, we know those inconsistencies have come. We've seen those inconsistencies out there on the road. They're starting to turn things back around, though, you guys. They have won their last 3. Tuesday's road win was over the Dallas Stars, a low-scoring 2-1 win. Home off only 2 games out there on the road, and then they head back out on the road for a Saturday game versus the New York Islanders. One-off home games, I don't love those situations for these teams. I expect while they will give Frederik Andersen more support, that they're expecting him to just come out phenomenally strong and won't give him as much support as I would like to see. So I do think the Columbus Blue Jackets can hit him. The Columbus Blue Jackets did win back in December, of course. It wasn't Frederik Andersen in net. They won that one 4-3. They're pushing for a wild card spot, and this team is never going to say die. Now, Adam Fantilli coming off that beautiful hat trick in their last game out last night versus the Leafs. Adam Fantilli, you know he's going to continue pushing here as this team tries to get a wild card spot, sitting 4th in the Metro right now. Carolina Hurricanes sitting 2nd. Good morning, Kev. I hope you're having a wonderful Thursday. Okay. We're going to move on to the Ottawa Senators. The Ottawa Senators are taking on the Boston Bruins. Current odds this morning on FanDuel have the Ottawa Senators rolling in as the favorite. We know the last time these teams played each other, pure pond hockey out there. Minus 154 for the Ottawa Senators. The Boston Bruins at plus 128. Total of 5.5. Now, the 5.5 is juiced to the under. Minus 112 to the under. Minus 108 to the over. And like I said, the last time they matched up, we had that pond hockey game. We saw the Ottawa Senators get a 6-5 win. And can they come out strong again, put those goals up? I think the Ottawa Senators can. We got Corpusalo in net. So backup goaltending for both of these teams. Levy coming in for the Ottawa Senators. While I love what Ottawa's been able to do on the defensive side and how they've been trending to the unders, probably one of the best under teams in the whole league. I just can't see this game going that way. I think they're going to be able to score on Corpusalo, and I think the Bruins will be able to answer back. Now, the Bruins are off that loss last night to the New Jersey Devils, losing that one 5-1. They were only able to get up one goal, and bad news for Devils fans out there is Jacob Markstrom will be missing time, being injured in that game last night. But you look at Boston. Boston's going to be eager to come out so strong after being held to one goal last night. And then we look at the Ottawa Senators. Well, on Tuesday, they got shut out by the New York Rangers, and they gave up 5 goals. So I do think Boston will be able to get their share of the goals. And then the Ottawa Senators will be coming out so hungry, especially in that first period. I think if you look at Ottawa in the first period on the puck line, I think it's a really solid way to go. The Senators have struggled in Boston, though. So caution here with the Senators laying that juice on the money line. I just don't love it. They've only won 3 of the last 12 meetings in Boston. So these teams will play a tight game. This will be a complete battle of the Atlantic here. You look at the Ottawa Senators, they're sitting 12-12-2 on the road this season. The Boston Bruins 14-7-3 at home. Now, Ottawa 4th in the Atlantic and Boston 6th in the Atlantic. These two teams are going to completely battle it out. I would love to take a lower scoring game, but with the goaltending matchup, I just can't get there. And when you look here at what they've trended to, they completely trended to that under. So it's going against all trends. 6 of the last 7 meetings in Boston have stayed under that total. The under is also 10-3 in the last 13 meetings overall. So that previous meeting is a rarity, seeing that 6-5 game in that last one. But again, backup goaltending. I can't take the under in this one. Ottawa's been one of the best under teams in the league as well. But this really does seem like a 4-3 style game out there. So let me know what you guys are liking in this one. If you're willing to take this to the under, I just can't get there. I'm going to look for this to start off hot. So in case we see the lockdown on defense, give me both of these teams to come out on fire in that first period. Ottawa after being shut out, and the Boston Bruins after being held to one goal. Both will be hungry to light the lamp in that first period. Give me the over 1.5 in the first period. It's coming in at -102. And also give me both teams to score in the first period at +184. Let's get that hot start and let's stay off the total for the full game, because if the defense is locked down, you guys know I love defensive hockey. And then I'm going to be kicking myself for not rolling with the trends of taking the unders. But backup goaltending, Corpusalo, can't trust him. He's just not looking like the goaltender we saw last season. Now, let's look at Montreal. Montreal has been such a fun team out there. They're +108 here on the money line, taking on the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit, strong team as well. Strong offensive team. We have seen some defensive play out of them that's been looking really good. They're -130 here on the money line at home. Now, this total is a 5.5, -134 to the over, and +110 to the under. I can't take an under between these two teams. I would take it over, but I do think okay, so the juice on the over is -134. It's ticking up, you guys. I think you can ult it to 6.5. Now, I was able to go over 6.5 at +122 earlier in the day, and I do think it's a really solid way to go. I think as the day goes on, we're going to see that movement to the 6.5, and it will probably, when it does move to the 6.5, be like a +104 mark. So if you ult it right now at +122, I think it's a great way 4-3 style win for either of these teams. Now, Montreal, we know how incredible they've been as a dog. They won their last 2 Tuesday. They got the win over the Tampa Bay Lightning, a 3-2. This is a one-off road game here. They're home on Saturday versus the New Jersey Devils. They're sitting 5th in the Atlantic, 11-11-1 out there on the road, 7th in the Atlantic here. For the Detroit Red Wings. Now, they are 12-11-2 at home this season. They've lost their last 3. This team was rolling so hot, and now they have had those struggles. Tuesday, it was a road loss in overtime versus the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, they lost that one 2-1. They're the Stars. No, they're the Lightning on Saturday. So they'll face the Lightning on Saturday at home. Monday, they'll have the LA Kings. So they're on a little bit of a home stance here. Those losses did come out there on the road. I'm looking for them to try to get back on track, but I'm not sure if they will versus a Montreal team that's won already both meetings so far this season. So they won in December 5-1, and they've been able to come out and just dominate versus the Red Wings. The road team's 7-2 in the last 9 meetings between these two teams as well. So with how Montreal has been playing, they've won their last 7 games as an underdog. There is no way I can't touch on them today. So give me Montreal. I will take a chance on them. I do think the best bet is to alt this over 6.5 though. Brady Tkachuk, anytime goal for the Ottawa Senators. You can't hate Brady Tkachuk. He's been playing nice and strong out there. That is for sure. Caulfield and DeBrincat for the points today. Yeah, I definitely think Caulfield should come out nice and strong. Nick Suzuki, Patrick Laine, I love as well. He's been phenomenally strong at home. Let's see what he's got out here on the road as well. Alternate the over and the totals on the Red Wings. Kev? You were reading my mind. Let's go. Let's take that over at 6.5. Montreal hot. Detroit is ice cold. That is for sure. Kaprizov back out there on the ice for the Minnesota Wild. You guys know we're going to be circling him. I'm loving him for the goal tonight. I'm loving him for the points tonight. 2+ points we're going to look at for Kaprizov out there, the anytime goal as well. So we will jump into that. You're going to sprinkle the exacta 1-1 Bruins and Senators. Kev, that is a great way to go. I do think both of those teams come out, both put up a goal. So the 1-1, let us know what you're getting for that for a price there. Mark Stone and Grill for the points. Definitely a strong way to go. Vegas is going to be coming out so strong in that matchup after losing that overtime game. So I love where you guys are going. Keep dropping those bets. And yeah, I'm super excited. Big sis, Elisa, good to see you here. I haven't seen you here for a while. I'm pumped for tonight's action as well. I think we've got a lot of ways to make some freaking money. Peter going with Hudson there. I don't blame you. Hudson has been hot. Okay, we're going to move to the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the New York Rangers, you guys. The Flyers, this Flyers team, they're on a little bit of a winning streak. Can they continue here versus the New York Rangers? Well, they won their last 3. They were able to get the overtime win versus the Red Wings at home it was a Tuesday matchup. So they came out nice and strong. We're looking at a Rangers team that was able to shut out the Ottawa Senators, still blown away by that. So current odds on FanDuel. Let me just find it here. Okay, so the Flyers are plus 128. The Rangers are minus 154. Total sits at 5.5. Now, that 5.5 is minus 120 to the over. You look at the Philadelphia Flyers, and while they've been able to score in some of these games, I just don't think they're going to be able to hit Igor Shesterkin tonight. Igor Shesterkin has been so strong in goal. I'm looking for the Flyers to be really limited in this matchup. With what the Rangers were able to do to the Ottawa Senators, look for them to come out and limit the Flyers the same way. I'm going to take the Flyers team total. The Flyers team total sitting at 2.5. Give me it to the under. Minus 122 under the 2.5. Now, we've seen the Flyers win the last 2 meetings versus the New York Rangers. So they won middle of November, I believe it was, in that 3-1 game. They were able to score 3 goals in that one, but I'm looking for this Rangers team now that they have been building that momentum and been playing a lot stronger with some changes that they've made to come out nice. So we've seen the Flyers win the last 2 meetings, but we look at the Rangers and how they did prior to those 2 meetings, and they absolutely dominated the Philadelphia Flyers, winning the last 7. So I'm looking for them to come out strong. Now, they have won their last 6 as a home favorite versus the Metro. So we've got the Flyers sitting 6th in the Metro. We know the Rangers just above them here, sitting 5th. Both of these teams are going to completely battle it out in a low-scoring game, I do believe. Now, why I'm going to go with the Flyers team total is because I really do trust more so in net here for Igor Shesterkin to stand tall between the pipes. And if it's not Igor Shesterkin and we see Jonathan Quick, so be it. I'm comfortable with the Flyers team total under the 2.5, no matter who we see in net. Urgent on the other side for the Flyers. I think the Rangers could hit him. So I want to stay off the full game total, just looking at the Flyers, a team total under the 2.5. Now, the Flyers, again, 2-7 in the last 9 meetings. They won the last 2. The 7 prior were all dominated by the Rangers. They've lost their last 4 first periods as a dog. So if you want to look at the Rangers to come out hot to start this one at home, the Rangers first period, definitely a way to go. Now, they're juicy on that money line at minus 154. It's been ticking around minus 154, 155 mark. So that first period is too juicy, but I do think the Rangers can go up nice and strong in the first period. These teams trend highly to that under, so I'm going to stay off of that. I'm just going to take the Flyers team total under 2.5. Under 5.5 for the full game. Yeah, I like where you're going. Both of these teams are playing well. They absolutely are. The tie 1-1 for the Bruins and the Senators, plus 550 first period. I love it, Kev. I definitely think, you guys, that is a really solid way to go. Definitely worth a sprinkle. Like, if you don't want to take a lot on that, it's just plus 550. Hell yeah, sign me up. Oh, big sis Lisa, excited for your brother. Say congratulations to Joey now for his for everything he's got going on. That's awesome. I love seeing that. Okay, you guys, let's jump into Vegas. Vegas is taking on the St. Louis Blues. Now, Vegas is looking so hard to break this losing streak. They've lost their last 4. They have to stop the bleeding. The St. Louis Blues are coming off the win. Well, these teams just faced up. It was on Monday. So we saw on Monday the win here for the St. Louis Blues. They were able to win it 5-4 in a shootout. Jack Eichel is your go-to player tonight. Jack Eichel in overtime missed an empty net for Vegas. He's going to come out so freaking strong in this game. He's going to look to bounce back. Jack Eichel has been phenomenal this season. You look at Jack Eichel, 58 points in 46 games. Yeah, 58 points in 46 games. He's going to be in the conversation for the Hart Trophy. Absolutely. He's been playing lights out there. I'm going to look at him after missing that empty goal. And you listen to him in the media after, and he was just distraught that he missed that empty netter. Vegas first period puck line. Look for Vegas to respond straight out of the gate versus a team that they just lost to in OT. Vegas first period puck line coming in at plus 154. Then my favorite bets, Jack Eichel for the goal at plus 190, 2+ points for Jack Eichel's only plus 200, but you know he's probably going to get a goal, if not 2, a goal and an assist. So I do like the combination for the points out there. Mark Stone has been playing phenomenally strong. I know you guys already threw out Mark Stone for the points, and I do think he comes out strong as well. I just can't see the St. Louis Blues holding down the Vegas Golden Knights in this game. Vegas is first in the Pacific. They're so strong on the road, 11-8-3, and we talk about them in the Fortress. That is where they took the loss. Now, why I love the first period more so than the full game, because you look, it's the first night of a back-to-back. They do have the Dallas Stars on deck tomorrow, who are sitting third in the Central. So a tougher opponent on deck, but I don't think Vegas lets that get in their head. They need and they want this win here over the St. Louis Blues, who beat them in a shootout in that last game. So, this is their final meeting between the two as well. So when we look at how prior meetings have gone, the Knights did win the first matchup on their own home ice. So they won the first, they lost that second, and this is the third and final one here. So look for Vegas to get the best of this series between them and the St. Louis Blues. And I love what we've seen out of the Blues. They're sitting 11-10-1 at home this season, 5th in the Central. We know this team is scrappy. We know this team never says die out there on the ice. So if you see Vegas get up 2 goals in that first period, then looking at the puck line for the St. Louis Blues would be worth a look, plus the 1.5, because I do think it's a 1-goal game between these two teams. So it should be a nice battle out there between them. But Vegas, yeah, absolutely should be motivated out there to get things done, to get the win today. Let's look at the Utah Hockey Club versus the Minnesota Wild. Kaprizov, you guys threw it out there. Kaprizov back on the ice, and it makes me smile to hear the fact that Kaprizov is on the ice. Look for this team to be able to step up offensively. Look for them to start playing better defensive hockey out there as well. Now, the problem here is looking at the Wild. The juice just keeps flying up for this team as people start getting in on them. They're minus 162 on the money line. I can't get there, you guys. You know that's out of my range where I'm willing to take a money line bet. Total sitting at 5.5, minus 138 to the over. Well, I do think the Wild can put up a couple of goals here on Utah. I struggle to see what Utah is going to do in this matchup. I want to stay off the full game total. I expect it to stay under. I could see a 3-1 win here for the Minnesota Wild, or for the Wild to continue to fly out there with Kaprizov on the ice. Now, this is the first night of a back-to-back here for the Utah Hockey Club. Also, the first road game of 3. They're at the Jets on tomorrow on Friday, and they're coming off the win over the Jets on Monday. So they got a win over the Winnipeg Jets. I still don't know how. 5-2 win over the Winnipeg Jets, and then they face the Winnipeg Jets tomorrow. This is a hard spot with Minnesota in the middle, but battle of the Central. So we're not going to see Utah not be ready for this game. Utah absolutely will be ready for this game. Both of these defenses have struggled as of late, but again, it's the Minnesota Wild that do have the better defensive players out there. This is the team I'm looking to be able to start playing better, and it all starts with goaltending. Gustafsson hasn't looked like himself as of late. Gustafsson started off the season lights out. He was so hot. We were riding with him. You couldn't score on this guy. And now you look at him in his last 4 games. In his last 4 games, he's allowed 19 goals on 118 shots on goal. That's a save percentage of .839. Just not the numbers we were all expecting out of Gustafsson. So when we look at the Wild, they have given up 17 goals in the last 5 games. The Utah Hockey Club, 16 goals in the last 5 games. Look for that to change out of the Wild tonight. But it's a hard one because the defense has been giving up the goals. Gustafsson hasn't been good. Third meeting between these two, we have seen the split so far. We saw Utah win on December 20th, 2-1 in Minnesota. So that low-scoring game that we so want in this one, the one that the Wild won was in Utah. They won 5-4. Kaprizov had a goal in that game. So that was earlier in December. That was like on the 10th. Kaprizov had a goal in that one. With Kaprizov returning to the ice tonight, I'm going to play around with this. I want to take a couple of like different situational parlays here, all revolving around the Wild getting the win and Kaprizov, because I do think he is such a difference maker. Now, he hasn't played since versus Chicago. It was right before Christmas, I believe the 23rd, their last game. So he hasn't played since then. Will he be rusty? I don't think so. I think Kaprizov is ready to hit the ice rolling. And then that last game versus Utah that he played in on the 20th, he had an assist and 0 shots on goal. So he wasn't strong in that one. So that was December 20th when Utah won 2-1. So I'm looking for this game for him to come out nice and strong. I do think Utah's team total under 2.5 should hit. I really do think Gustafsson has to play better. The defense has to play better. But in case that goes south, what I like even better is I want the Wild to win, and I want to have a bet on Kaprizov. If you parlay the Minnesota Wild to win and Kaprizov to get the goal, it takes those odds from a -160 here for the Wild to win to the goal and the win at +181. I love that, you guys. I think Kaprizov will be on fire tonight. Now, if you're a little bit worried about the goal and you want just to take Kaprizov for the assist, outside of parlaying it, it is way too juicy because it's like -270. But if you take the money line here for the Minnesota Wild and then you take Kaprizov for the point tonight, it's -117. So we're bringing down a -160 money line favorite and a point of -3, almost -300 to a -117. So I like both of them. Which one am I playing? Well, I'm going to play the goal. I'm going to go big or go home in this matchup. And if I lose it, I lose it. But I would rather not lay juice because I do think that goal is coming. If you just want to bet Kaprizov for the goal, I don't blame you. Now, if you want to take him for 2+ points, 2+ points for Kaprizov tonight, coming in at +158. I like it. The goal's coming in at +110, 2+ points at +158. I think he just comes back flying out there on the ice. So that's where I'm going with this one. Yeah, the team total under 2.5 is great. I think it's a great way to go here. No, I don't think Kaprizov comes out rusty. I think when these players are ready to hit the ice, they are absolutely ready to hit the ice. The Minnesota Wild wouldn't take their star player and put him back out there until he's absolutely ready. So, yeah, he might start off rusty. This might take us into the third period, if you guys think. It could take us into the third period. Konecki, 4 goals, 2 assists in the last 3 games versus the Rangers. I can get behind Konecki here for the points tonight. The Minnesota Wild -1.5. I love it. Irish King, I think -1.5 here. The Minnesota Wild should be a strong way to go in this one because I don't see the Flyers getting those goals. My concern always is with the Wild on the puck line is they get up by 2 goals and then that defense looks down. The defense absolutely has to look down in front of Gustafsson. They cannot come out and try to play a high scoring game because of the lapses they've had in defense and because of the lapses they've had in net. So the Wild love winning these games that they grind out after they get up. So if you want to take the Minnesota Wild in the first period to get the win on the puck line, laying a half goal in the first period, I like it more than the full game. And just because of that kind of mindset that we do see out of the Minnesota Wild. Now, other teams, it takes them a while to get those goals on the board. And so then that puck line becomes more apparent when they're in that third period and then they find a way to be able to get it done. But the Wild are a team. I love that first period puck line rather than the full game puck line. It should be a great matchup between these two teams. And if you do believe Kaprizov comes out a little rusty in the first period, then don't take the first period for the Minnesota Wild on the puck line. Look for that to come later in that game where we'll see Kaprizov with more time out there on the ice. So it should be great, but you're right, you guys, he's missed like a month out there on the ice, but he's ready. I really do feel like he's ready. I won't be shocked if he comes out and scores a goal right away in that first period, wins a face-off, scores a goal. So that's what I'm expecting out of Kaprizov out there. Okay. Yeah, Utah, Logan Cooley. Logan Cooley's been phenomenal for Utah. I don't think you have to worry about him not coming out nice and strong. So looking at that matchup, it's a hard matchup here for Utah, but Logan Cooley, definitely someone you want to circle there. Okay, we're going to look at the Buffalo Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres are taking on the Calgary Flames. Buffalo is dominated. There has been so many games in the Dome, you guys. Going to the Saddle Dome, seeing Calgary versus Buffalo, it's heartbreaking for fans. Buffalo, I think, has won the last 7 meetings in Calgary in the Dome. They've had major advantage over the Calgary Flames. Now, Calgary's a minus 134 favorite. So just based on being at these games, man, it's a hard one to think Calgary can pull off this win. The Buffalo Sabres are coming in at plus 112, total of 5.5. 5.5 juice to the over at minus 122 to the unders coming in at plus 100. Lankigan expected in net here for the Buffalo Sabres tonight, and Dustin Wolf expected for the Calgary Flames. Now, Calgary is off the win versus the Jets on the road on Saturday. Still shaking my head at that one as well. Calgary coming out, getting a big win, 3-1 win. Now, they're returning home off a 4-game road trip. You guys know that is a red flag. A Calgary team returning home off a 4-game road trip. They went 2-2 on that road trip. So it was a decent road trip, not exactly what they wanted. But this is a one-off home game here. They're back on the road on Saturday versus the Minnesota Wild. And then they have the Winnipeg Jets again on Sunday. So they have a weekend back-to-back, returning home here, and then have to play again. So they had that game on Saturday. So they've been home for a while. They probably got home, Sunday, Thursday. So they've had time at home here, but they're preparing to get right back out on the road. They're sitting 4th in the Pacific, which no one expected out of Calgary. They've been playing above expectations this season. They're strong at home, 14-6-3. And Dustin Wolf, he's looked incredible. This is a goaltender that I love to back, and I think great future here for the Calgary Flames with him in net. Lankigan hasn't lived up to my expectations this season. I expected so much more out of him. I expected Buffalo to be able to make the playoffs, but they're proving that they're just not going to be able to do so. This team's sitting 8th in the Atlantic, 9-12-2 on the road, but they are off the win in their last game out on Tuesday. They were able to get that road win versus the Vancouver Canucks. Now they're at the Oilers on Saturday for the last game of their 4-game road trip. They won that first meeting between these two, or the last meeting between these two in November, 3-2 win. Like I said, Buffalo has dominated getting those wins. They won the last 3 in Calgary. So Calgary did get one of those wins. It feels like 7. It might as well be 20 for all those heartbreaks the Calgary Flames fans have seen with them rolling in, with Buffalo rolling in, be able to get the win. I do think there's value on the Buffalo Sabres. They've gone 5-1 in the last 6 meetings. So like I said, there has been that one win. I kind of want to stay off this game. I'm not going to lie, you guys. I think it's a terrible spot for Calgary for the scheduling. I think Buffalo probably gets a win, but at plus 112 with Dustin Wolf in goal, it's a hard bet for me because I think it's going to be a tight game between these two. Now, when I look at Buffalo here, I look at Tage Thompson, and that's where I really want to go. I want to prop bet this one. So let's look at Tage Thompson first for the Buffalo Sabres at plus 170 to get a goal. He has a goal versus Calgary in the last 4 meetings and 5 of the last 6. He's had points in all 6 of those. So his point tonight is minus 158. Way too juicy to take, but the goal at plus 170 with a goal in the last 4 meetings, I'm willing to hit Tage Thompson. Now, the assist, I would look at Rasmus Dahlin. So Rasmus Dahlin for the point, again, too juicy at minus 148. But if you want to take Tage Thompson and Rasmus Dahlin for a point tonight, parlay them together, you're going to get plus money. The assist for Dahlin's coming in at minus 104. His last 5 games versus Calgary, he's had 1 goal and 5 assists. So those assists have come out of Rasmus Dahlin. There was only 1 game out of those 5 that he was completely held off the scoreboard. So in one of the games, he did get 2 assists out there. So I'm looking for Tage Thompson to play strong, Rasmus Dahlin to play strong here for the Buffalo Sabres. So any combination of the goals and or the points that you want to take, and Dahlin for the assist, I completely back tonight. Now, when we look at Calgary, Huberdeau has been hot. He's had points in 13, 14 of the last 20 games. So he's been able to rack up those points out there. And Nazem Kadri on this road trip, he was held off the board, you guys. He didn't get a single point out there on that 4-game road trip. Nazem Kadri at home is where he plays his best. And so he's able to get those points. He's been able to get a point in 61% of his home games this season. So if you're looking at points for Calgary, I would look at Huberdeau and Kadri, parlay them for the point. And then on the other side, I look at Tage Thompson and Rasmus Dahlin, parlay from the point. I'll take Tage Thompson for the anytime goal. I will also take Rasmus Dahlin for an assist. And when I look at Huberdeau and Kadri, I just want to take the points, you guys. I think either has the ability to get the goal out there, and I'll parlay them together. Yeah, Tage Thompson for the points as well. Yeah, it's a hard one to jump on the Sabres. That is for sure. It's just not enough value. If the Sabres were like plus 150, I would sign up all day long, but I just can't at plus 112. The Vancouver Canucks next take on the Edmonton Oilers. Oh my God, tempers. Will they be flying? Will these teams come out with a level heads? I don't know if they will. You guys, if you miss their last matchup, Connor McDavid, cross-check to the head. He got suspended. Tyler Myers got suspended, the defensive player for Vancouver. They just played each other on Saturday in Vancouver. Vancouver got the 3-2 win. These two teams, I don't know how they are going to be level-headed in this one today. I do think this is a player prop one. I think this one stays under the total. I think this is defensive and hard-hitting, but you got to remember, to stay under the total, it means that they can't spend time in the box because the ability to score on that power play will be there. For these teams, we saw in that last game, Leon Draisaitl able to get 2 goals in the second period, the only 2 goals that Edmonton got. So we saw Vancouver get up strong, 3 goals in the first period. Edmonton answered back with 2 in the second, and these teams completely locked down in that third period. No goals. So finish Vancouver 3-2 win. I am looking here for the one player who always steps up without Connor McDavid on the ice, and that is Leon Draisaitl. Leon Draisaitl, in their last game, they lost that game to the Washington Capitals. Leon Draisaitl still got a goal and an assist. He got, 6 shots on goal. He was just flying, and they still lost that one 3-2 at home. They've lost their last 2 now because it was the Capitals and Vancouver. Vancouver is off a loss to the Sabres on Tuesday. 3-2 style game. So when we look at the odds in this one, we have a total of 5.5. Sign me up to the under 5.5 at plus 102. I know it is scary, but I do think these teams have to play smart. They have to play defensive. I think we see what we saw in the third period with these teams just completely battling it out. But I will look at player props here. I do think Leon Draisaitl is such a difference maker for the Edmonton Oilers. We look at him with or without Connor McDavid on the ice. With Connor McDavid on the ice, he averages 1.33 points per game. Without Connor McDavid, it's 1.5. And I know it doesn't sound like a stark difference, but it really is. He steps up in place and he puts a weight of that team on his shoulder without Connor McDavid, their captain, on the ice. So Leon Draisaitl for 2+ points tonight, coming in at plus 106. Not great value, guys, as the books are thinking it as well. The anytime goal at plus 120, 2+ points. The 2+ points is plus 750. So the one, let me double check that. I thought I didn't get that much value for it earlier. So Leon Draisaitl, 1+ points is minus 480. 2+ points is plus 108. So 2+ points at plus 108. 2+ goals is where I'm looking at. 2+ goals is plus 750. Can he come out and get 2+ goals? He has every ability to, because in that second period of that last game versus Vancouver, he got both of those goals. Now, one of the goals was on the power play. The other one was unassisted. The power play was assisted by Connor McDavid out there. You can just look at him for the power play point tonight. That's coming in at plus 115. So if these teams get scrappy, will Leon Draisaitl be involved in that, though, and be sent in the box is also a question mark out there. So I do think looking at him for the goal and the 2+ goals, definitely worth a sprinkle on the 2+ goals. Even though I think this is a low-scoring game, I do think if the goals come, Leon Draisaitl is somehow responsible for those goals. So the points, the 2+ points, again, not the value I want at plus 106. So I can't bet it, but I'll take the goal and I'll sprinkle on the 2+. So a goal and an assist versus Washington, like I said, he was able to record 2 points and they still lost that one. And then he got the 2 points for the 2 goals versus Vancouver in that one. I think Edmonton wins, but you guys, looking at the value here, let me just pull up those lines again. Edmonton at minus 182. I just can't bet it. Could we see an overtime game? Yeah, we could see an overtime game between these two teams. The overtime bet coming in at plus 310. So an overtime bet. And for this game to reach overtime and the overtime goal scorer to be Leon Draisaitl, plus 4,500. Who wants to take that bet? I do. Plus 4,500. Sign me up. I really do think you got to look at the storylines between these teams. I expect Quinn Hughes to come out strong, Evan Bouchard to come out strong as well, but Jake DeBrusk on the other side. I think this is a battle. This is a war between these two, and they're ready to go to war. Edmonton with last change should be able to get the win at home, but it's gonna be crazy. Leon's gonna take over. Yeah, he absolutely has to. Yeah, he's got to score immediately. He's going to come out there and score immediately. I like Kaprizov immediately to score. I like Leon Draisaitl immediately to score. And then I love one more. Why am I drawing a blank? There's one more player that I think immediately comes out and scores. I'll think about that. Let's move on to the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Anaheim Ducks. Okay, current lines. The Ducks are a plus 122 underdog, minus 146 here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Total sitting at 6.5 with that juice to the under, minus 128 currently on FanDuel. I do think we see both of these teams come out strong in the first period. We know the Pittsburgh Penguins are a team that love to get up in that first period. They bring everything they have. So many trade rumors. We know the only people really safe in Pittsburgh is Sidney Crosby and Malkin. But otherwise, I think we're going to see a lot of movement on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, the Anaheim Ducks, they're at home. John Gibson expected. He doesn't give me a lot of faith in him to stand tall between the pipes. So looking at this first period, over 1.5 is in play. It's coming in at minus 122. Could the Pittsburgh Penguins score both of these goals? Absolutely. But we know there's players like Troy Terry on the Anaheim Ducks that really do dig deep. They will be looking to come out nice and strong in this matchup. They've lost their last 4, so they're looking to get back on track. That last loss was to the Florida Panthers 5-2, and we've got the Pittsburgh Penguins rolling in here of a win versus the LA Kings. Again, Monday games were freaking crazy, you guys. They beat the Kings 5-1. Pittsburgh Penguins, who can never hold a lead. They don't play much defense, and they beat the LA Kings, who are so strong defensively 5-1. It still blows my mind. We have the Pittsburgh Penguins at the Kraken on Saturday, then at the Sharks on Monday. So nice scheduling here for them, and the Anaheim Ducks versus the Preds on Saturday. So 7th in the Metro versus 7th in the Pacific. Give me the over 1.5 in the first period at minus 122. We saw in October the Pittsburgh Penguins get a 2-1 low-scoring win. I do think this one stays under the total of 6.5, but we have seen movement to a 5.5 in this one. So the 6.5 was at -134 to the under. Now at a 5.5, kind of nerve-wracking, right? Because it's John Gibson in net here for the Pittsburgh or for the Anaheim Ducks. Let me just look at the Ducks team total. Now we have seen that movement to a 5.5 versus a 6.5. And give me 1 second to pull it up. So the Ducks team total under 2.5 goals is +112. It's scary though, you guys. This Penguins team, I don't know. It's not enough value for me. I'm going to look here at the Penguins and the Ducks over 1.5 in the first period. But then I think it slows down. I really do think 3-2 style win here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. The overtime bet's coming in at +300, and I do think the Ducks can push the Penguins to overtime. So give me the overtime. Give me reluctantly the under if you really want to bet it. I loved it at 6.5. I love the under 6.5 because I thought 3-2 style game. Now at a 5.5, even though I think we only get 5 goals, I just don't want to touch it. So first period over 1.5, fast start, lock down in this one, and then probably stay under the total, but I love the overtime. The Washington Capitals are then taking on the Seattle Kraken. The Seattle Kraken, a home dog at +116. We have -140 here for the Caps. Total of 5.5, -118 to the over, -104 to the under. I don't think this one is low enough unless the Washington Capitals come out and put up 5 goals themselves. We look at Charlie Lindgren in net tonight here for the Washington Capitals, and I think he comes out nice and strong. Ovi needs to get those goals on the board, you guys. Look at Ovi tonight. Joey Decord will be in net for the Seattle Kraken. Now, Seattle has been playing strong defensively, and in net, they've given up 2 goals or less in 3 of their last 4 games. So we have seen that movement to this team locking down on the defensive side. The Capitals have given up a total of 4 goals over their last 5 games, you guys. They've been phenomenally strong in net, phenomenally strong defensively, and I just can't see Seattle being able to score in them. Now we know Jared McCann and the Seattle Kraken are feisty out there. We got Brandon Montour on this team. We've got playmakers out there for the Kraken, but I'm going to take their team total under 2.5 goals in this. I can't see them putting up 3 on the Washington Capitals. Under 2.5 goals is coming in at +104. I also love, so instead of taking the full game, because I'm a little worried about what the Caps will do to Joey Decord, even though Seattle has been locking down on the defensive side, I'm going to take the first period under 1.5 goals at -116. I will be holding my breath for the first 20 minutes, praying that the Washington Capitals don't score easy on Joey Decord, but strong trends to the under between these two teams. The last 4 meetings have gone under that total. So I'm going to sit there and hold my breath. I hate holding my breath on unders, you guys. You know that. I love under style hockey. That first period, we know everything can be blown out of the water in the first period, and then we still see that lockdown and the original total still staying under. So you got to hope for no puck luck out of the Washington Capitals in that first, but Ovi for the anytime goal. Let's get rolling with Ovechkin. He needs to get hotter out there. He's chasing Wayne Gretzky. We all know the storyline. Now, one game I think we can see goals is the Nashville Predators taking on the San Jose Sharks. Total 5.5, and I'm actually shocked this one hasn't moved. The over 5.5 coming in at -138. I do think you can ult this to over 6.5 and get great plus of money here, and I expect it to move as the day goes on. The Nashville Predators are a -260 favorite here. On the money line, the San Jose Sharks at +210. Now, Tyler Toffoli still listed as day-to-day, but this team, I tell you, they're giving teams hell even without Toffoli out there on the ice. Well, they have lost their last 4. We've seen them be able to put up some goals, and I do think they put up their share of goals here at home. Celebrini has been looking great out there. Now, the Nashville Predators have won their last 4. They did beat the Sharks team 7-5 on Tuesday at home. So you look, the Sharks put up 5 goals. The Preds put up 7, and we got a total of 5.5 at -134. I don't see the defensive hockey coming into play. Now, the Nashville Predators' first night of a back-to-back. They do have the Anaheim Ducks on deck tomorrow. They're sitting 7th in the Central, 8th in the Pacific here for the San Jose Sharks. They lost those last 4 games out there on the road, so this is their first game home. You normally like fading a team, right, when they are coming home from a road trip, but you've got to look at how that team did on that road trip. With them losing their last 4 on the road, they are going to come out here on fire at home looking to get back on track. So give me the over 4-3 style win. The value is on the Sharks to get the win. The Predators, though, have been rolling hot. The San Jose Sharks plus 1.5 coming in at minus 128. Give me the plus 1.5. Give me a sprinkle at plus 210. I think the Predators start off hot and we'll get a better number for the Sharks. So right now, I'm going to put a half unit on the plus 1.5 and half unit on the plus 210. I'm going to save the other full unit to come back in on the same bets, but after the Preds go up first. So if you believe the Predators go up first, which I do think they have every opportunity going up first in that first period, you can look at the Predators puck line first period. I think it goes over 1.5 goals in the first period, and both teams score, though, in the first period. So we're going to have a really small window, I think, to back the Sharks again, because I think the Preds score, we come back in on the Sharks, we go over 1.5, both teams score in the first period. I could see it being a 2-1 win for the Predators in the first period, though. I just think those goals are coming. So over 1.5 in the first period is minus 118. Both teams to score at plus 184. And then if you really do think it is a 2-1 first period for the Preds minus a half a goal on that, puck line's coming in at plus 120. So lots of ways you can go with this game, you guys. I am so excited for tonight's matchups. We're going to have a great night out there on the ice. Let's make some freaking money. If you guys are hanging out, make sure you hit that like button, hit that retweet button, hit the subscribe button over on YouTube. We're a couple minutes late kicking off today, but it should be a great day. Yeah, the Predators have been phenomenally strong versus the Sharks, but this Predators team is rolling really hot right now, winning their last 4. They just beat the Sharks. I do like some of those sudden revenge angles, especially with the team struggling out there on the road. I think sometimes you see that overlook as well. So I'm willing to take a chance on the Sharks. I really hope Tyler Toffoli is back out there on the ice. So if you don't want to take the Sharks straight up on the money line, that puck line, I think, is a definitely strong way to go. Like I said, I'll be putting a half unit on that, half unit on the other. I love looking at the situational spots here, and I think the Preds are in a bad situation. Rolling hot right now, 7th in the Central, winning their last 4, and the Ducks on deck tomorrow. I think somehow the Sharks find a way to at least keep it tight. Maybe they don't win. At the value we're getting, I do think it's worth the sprinkle. Okay, guys, are you ready for the recap? Let's get there. 47 minutes we've been talking here, so let's jump into it. Okay, the first game out on deck at 7 o'clock, the puck will drop between the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, I do think, even though it's Frederik Andersen in net tonight for the Carolina Hurricanes, who was able to come back and get the win versus Chicago, I think Columbus, yes, they've had their struggles on the road, but can hit him. I'm looking for a 4-3 style win out of the Carolina Hurricanes. So I'll take the Columbus Blue Jackets team total over 2.5 goals. That's coming in at plus 138. Adam Fantilli's been rolling hot, was able to get the hat trick in front of his family in that last game out. Look for him to continue success out there on the ice tonight. The Ottawa Senators and the Boston Bruins. I do think this one starts off as a little bit of pond hockey. You look at the Ottawa Senators, they're off being shut out versus the New York Rangers, and the Boston Bruins held to 1 goal versus the New Jersey Devils. Give me both teams to score in the first period at plus 184, and the over 1.5 in the first period coming in at minus 102. Now we have strong trends to the under, and we could see that lockdown. We got backup goaltending though, so I won't touch the full total. The Montreal Canadiens taking on the Detroit Red Wings. Montreal as a dog, they've been a money makers for you guys out there now. Montreal right now, you're not getting the best value at plus 114, but I do think they have every opportunity of winning this. We got a total of 5.5, minus 130 to the over, but I will alt it over 6.5 goals, plus 122. I think one of these teams gets a 4-3 win. I do think Montreal has every ability, so I will take them as well. Overtime, yeah, this game could hit overtime. 3-3 going into OT. I think it's a fantastic way to take this matchup. Look for those playmakers. Larkin for the Detroit Red Wings. You got to look at Patrick Laine here. Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki for Montreal to continue rolling hot. The Philadelphia Flyers taking on the New York Rangers. I think the Flyers get completely limited in this one by Igor Shesterkin and the defense of the Rangers. Give me the Flyers team total under 2.5 goals. That's coming in at minus 122. I'm going to stay off the full game total, even though they trend to the under. I just don't trust Urchin in goal here for the Flyers tonight. I don't know how many goals the Rangers are going to put up. The Rangers have been, they've lost the last 2 to the Flyers. Before those last 2 losses, the Rangers dominated this matchup, winning the last 7. So I do think they come out strong and get the win. The Vegas Golden Knights need to stop the bleeding tonight versus the St. Louis Blues. And I tell you, they are going to be ready to take on this Blues team who just beat them in their own building. Look for the Vegas Golden Knights to come out and be able to get things done, especially in that first period. Vegas first period puck line laying a half a goal coming in at plus 154. Best bets of this game is to circle Jack Eichel to come out nice and strong after missing an empty netter in that last game in OT to result in the St. Louis Blues getting the win. I'm going to take Jack Eichel for the anytime goal at plus 190, 2+ points at plus 200. Not as much value as I want, but he's got 58 points, 46 in 46 games. Mark Stone, I would look for him to come out nice and strong as well. When we look at the Utah Hockey Club versus the Minnesota Wild, Kaprizov back on the ice, and that is where I want to go with this one. Playing around with a couple of things here. First, I'll take Utah's team total under 2.5. I think Gustafsson has to bounce back. Gustafsson has not looked solid in his last 4 starts. That save percentage in the last 4 is an .839. It's horrendous, but look for the Wild to give him the support defensively, and then look at Kaprizov to come out strong. So while I like Utah's team total under 2.5, I'm going to look at a parlay here. The Minnesota Wild straight up on the money line and Kaprizov for the goal. That's coming in at plus 181. If you just want to look at the Wild on the money line and Kaprizov for the assist, that's coming in at minus 117. The Buffalo Sabres versus the Calgary Flames. Buffalo has dominated in Calgary. They've won 5 of the last 6 meetings in Calgary, won the last 3 straight. It feels like a million wins that they always get in the Saddle Dome. They won that last meeting 3-2. I'm looking here for Buffalo to be able to get the win, but the problem here is it's not enough value for me to step in front of Calgary with Dustin Wolf in goal. Calgary is in a bad scheduling spot, though. This is their first game home off a road trip, and they're headed right back out on the road. I hate the scheduling spot. So I do think Buffalo holds water, taking them for the win. What I like better is just looking at players and looking at those player props tonight. Huberdeau has 13 points in the last 20 games. Nazem Kadri on the 4-game road trip held off the board, like completely. No points in the 4-game road trip. Nazem Kadri's played his best hockey at home. So Nazem Kadri, I can't even say it anymore. I've said Kadri too many times. So Huberdeau and Kadri for the point tonight, parlayed together, you'll get plus money. On the other side, Tage Thompson and Rasmus Dahlin. Tage Thompson and Rasmus Dahlin parlayed for the point. You'll get plus money there as well. But what I like better is Dahlin for the assist. That's coming in at minus 104. Tage Thompson for the goal at plus 170. He's a goal in the last 4 meetings versus Calgary, and 5 of the last 6. He's been able to record a goal or assist. So he's had points in all of the last 6. He's going to come out nice and strong tonight. Okay, the Vancouver Canucks versus the Edmonton Oilers. This is going to be war, defensive battle out there. We have a total of 5.5. I'm taking it to the under. Under 4.5, I could see cashing as well if you want to play with those totals. I think these 2 teams have to be smart not to allow the opponent to go on the power play with Connor McDavid on suspension and Tyler Myers on suspension here. For Vancouver, he's a defenseman, you guys, pivotal defenseman out here. I do think Edmonton still gets a win. Leon Draisaitl steps up. Leon Draisaitl is your difference maker out here for the Edmonton Oilers when Connor McDavid is off the ice. The difference between a 1.5 points per game and a 1.33 with Connor McDavid is huge in my opinion. So Leon Draisaitl, 2+ points. The books think so as well. It's only plus 106. The anytime goals coming in at plus 120. The 2+ goals at plus 750. Definitely worth a little bit of a sprinkle. If you think he's not going to be involved in going in the box on the power play, because we know he is definitely wanting to defend his captain. The power play point at plus 115. I do think he gets an opportunity on the power play. So plus 115, you know he's going to be talking crap out there on the ice as well, hoping to draw that power play for the Edmonton Oilers. Now he's got 34 goals and 37 assists on the season. Last game when these teams played in Vancouver, got the win just the other day, Leon Draisaitl scored the only 2 goals for the Edmonton Oilers in that second period. And remember, Vancouver went up first, 3 goals. He answered back with 2, and then they had the lockdown, no goals in the third. No goals in the first period, no goals in the first 10, under 1.5 in the first period. I do think could come out nice and strong, especially because I could see Leon Draisaitl scoring right away. The Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Anaheim Ducks. I think this game is the opposite. First period, we see that explosion of goals. Give me the over 1.5 goals at -122. Give me both teams to score in the first period at like +180. I do think the Ducks will look to push in this one. The overtime bet coming in at +300. Both of these teams can play some good hockey. And the Ducks at home, they're not the best team, but I think in this one, they've lost their last 4. They dig deep. The Washington Capitals taking on the Seattle Kraken. You know we're all over Ovi, but I do love this one to stay under in the first period. Under 1.5 goals in the first period at -116. The Seattle Kraken under 2.5 goals at +104. And then the Nashville Predators taking on the San Jose Sharks. Give me the over in this one. I think it starts off hot in the first period. Over 1.5 goals, both teams to score again. +184. Tyler Toffoli still listed as day-to-day for the Sharks. The Sharks +1.5, definitely worth a look, even though I know the Nashville Predators have dominated the San Jose Sharks. They just played each other on Tuesday, and we did see the Nashville Predators get a 7-5 win at home in that one. Look for the Sharks to come out hungry in this. Saros will need to stand tall between the pipes as 5 goals in that last game by the Sharks, but I do think the Sharks come out firing. Both teams to score in the first period, the over 1.5, the over 5.5 for this game. And I think you can ult this to over 6.5 as well. You guys, I want to wish you all the best in all of your bets. Josh Morrissey pick last night. I'm glad that you hit on Josh Morrissey with me tonight. Favorite 3 dogs on the slate today. Okay, so the Sharks are not my favorite. Let's just look at these lines here. Seattle, I can't take Seattle. I can't take the Anaheim Ducks. So that's those late games. The earlier games, Buffalo has dominated Calgary. I can't take Vancouver. I think Edmonton wins that one. So far we have Buffalo as a dog. I can't take St. Louis because I think you got that answer back. I can't take Utah. I do think Montreal. Montreal's proven as a dog. I can't take the Flyers. So I'm not loving the dogs, but I do think Columbus has every opportunity if Frederik Andersen. So biggest dog would be Columbus. So the dogs tonight, you could look at Ottawa, Columbus, Montreal, and Buffalo. So those are the 4 dogs. Do I love them? Not totally in love with them. In love with most, Montreal. Low scoring, Peter. I'm looking for a low scoring battle. I think 2-1 win for one of these teams. So I think you can ult it under 5.5, ult it under 4.5 as well. So you guys, all the best in all of your bets today. We'll be back here tomorrow on the grid, noon Eastern. Thanks for hanging out with me for the last hour. I appreciate each and every one of you. Do me a solid, hit that like, hit that retweet button, hit that subscribe button over on YouTube. Cup of Joe will be dropping right after the show. I'm going to record it. Going to look at the Chicago Bulls taking on the Golden State Warriors. So excited for this game. I've got a player prop that I think you guys are going to absolutely love. Stay tuned to Game Time Decisions for my Sports Millions Pick'ems as well. It's going to be a great day. You guys, all the best. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers, you guys. Hit so many.